Hello everyone, this is part 3 of What If Naruto Went into the Naruto World, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Be sure to like and subscribe, it gives me more motivation. Enjoy. Naruto was confused. He saw a girl younger than him, well at least younger than him in real life, training near some posts. She had her hair tied up in 2 elegant buns and she wore a Chinese dress. At the moment the girl throwing little knives at a target and she was always hitting bullseyes. You might ask why Naruto was confused. Well, the reason he was confused was because he couldn't do what the girl was doing. In the real world and this world. Hey, how do you do that? Naruto shouted, coming out of the trees suddenly. It turned out that this wasn't such a good idea because a moment later he found himself pinned to a tree by a barrage of kunai. Oh, I'm so sorry, apologized the girl hastily as she rushed forward and helped Naruto down. I was so into my training that I didn't notice you were just a genin. No problem, Naruto said, secretly glad that he wasn't hit and that the girl was actually friendly. Most girls he met scorned him. Of course this was a dream and it would have been weird if she were mean to him. Yeah, really weird, Naruto thought, shivering at the thought of Ino and Sakura. Oh, I didn't introduce myself. My name's Tenten, she said energetically as she bounded closer to him. My name's Uzumaki Naruto, the blonde replied automatically. Didn't you say you wanted learn something, Naruto-kun? Tenten asked, looking at Naruto friendlily, smiling a bit at how enthusiastic Naruto was in answering her. You know, I could help if you want. Really? Naruto exclaimed, looking surprised. Well, I was watching you practice. Huh, watching me practice? Tenten asked, surprised. She didn't think anyone would have found whatever she was doing interesting. Heck, she did it every day without even thinking. Yeah, you were doing stuff with those knives that I never saw before. Naruto exclaimed passionately. I want to know how to do that. Oh, you mean these kunai? Tenten asked as she picked up one of the knives from the ground and threw it at the target without looking. There was a solid thunk as she hit. Bullseyes, she said indifferently. It's not really that hard. You just need to practice. Naruto just looked at Tenten with admiration. Look, even an idiot could do it. Tenten said, slightly flustered with Naruto looking at her in that way, and handed a kunai to him. Here, you try. Naruto looked at the kunai dumbly before grinning. Sure thing, Naruto said before whirling around and flinging the kunai as hard as he could. The kunai went wild and missed the target by a mile. Not really the best I've seen, but better than some. Tenten lied, seeing Naruto deflate right in front of her eyes. It's not about the power. It's about the control. Tenten explained, and as an example she flicked a kunai, this time with her left hand, and still managed to hit the target right in the middle. Okay then, I'll try, Naruto said anxiously as Tenten handed him another kunai. Control, it's not in the strength, and with that in his mind he flicked the kunai much in the same way Tenten did. The kunai went about 5 feet before landing in the ground. Crap, doesn't the main character always have it easy? Naruto thought, a little exasperated at how he was failing. Well, that was a little closer and it was in the right way this time, Tenten said slowly as she examined Naruto's tense expression and stance. I think I know where you're going wrong. Tenten reached over and grabbed Naruto by the legs. Naruto yelped and jumped away in surprise. Naruto-kun, that's one reason why you're missing. You're much too tense, Tenten scolded, moving towards Naruto. If I didn't know better then I would say he's not used to being around girls. The second reason is that your stance is all wrong. Tenten grabbed Naruto's legs once again and forced him to face the target sideways with his knees bent slightly. This is how most academy students first learn how to do this. This is also how I learned it, she said, neglecting to mention she was a weapons master and had much more experience than any academy student. Oh, okay, Naruto said, still a little shaken from physical contact with a girl. Tenten placed another kunai in Naruto's hands and forced him to raise the kunai until it was at eye level. Now you just aim, and fire. Naruto let the kunai fly at the exact time Tenten said fire. There was a thunk as the kunai LD the very edge of the target. Yes, Naruto-kun. You did it, Tenten exclaimed happily as she engulfed Naruto into a hug. Unfortunately, this moment of friendship didn't last long as Naruto suddenly pushed away looking surprised and a little disturbed. What the heck? Tenten thought in confusion and slight anger. What was that for Naruto-kun? Are you afraid of girls or something? She exclaimed exasperated. Tenten was partially right. Naruto was afraid but mostly because no girl had ever been openly nice to him before. Of course he was terrified. Ah, it's okay. We're friends, right? Tenten said hastily before looking uncertainly at Naruto. Right. Yeah, sure. Friends. Naruto immediately replied. Tenten smiled slightly at Naruto's response. That's good because if you want to improve on your stance you're going to need some help. She said and was just about to improve Naruto's stance even further when someone called out her name. Tenten. The springtime of youth waits for none. Shouted someone from the forest. Lee. What do you want? Tenten shouted back. There was a sudden crashing from the undergrowth before a green spandex-wearing boy with a bowl cut flew out of the bushes. The first thing Naruto thought was bushy eyebrows. Guy-sensei says. Lee paused as he spotted Naruto. Ahhh. The springtime of youth burns strongly within this one. Who is this? Lee cried with his eyes alight with passion. Naruto-kun, meet Lee-san. Tenten said and before she knew it Lee was in front of Naruto and staring into his eyes. Needless to say, Naruto was surprised, but more terrified than surprised. Naruto-kun, how strongly your youth burns. If Guy-sensei were to train you in taijutsu you could become like no other. Lee said excitedly before turning to Tenten. Tenten, your skills with weapons is unmatched and you've been teaching Naruto-kun. I will become like you and dedicate myself to the improvement of this child. What the heck? Naruto thought looking at Lee wide-eyed as he attempted to back away without getting noticed. Lee's skill in taijutsu is unmatched. You should take his offer. Tenten said suddenly behind Naruto. Naruto turned around surprised that she was able to move faster than he could track before mouthing, he has a bowl cut. I think it looks good on him. Tenten said defensively. So it is agreed. We start training. Tenten. Lee. Guy-sensei requests our presence. Shouted a cold voice from the trees interrupting Lee's plans. Sorry Naruto-kun. We may not be able to train today but I will not rest until your taijutsu matches our own. Until next time. Lee cried before running into the trees. Neji. Wait. I know Lee's a bit eccentric but he's really good at taijutsu. Tenten said thoughtfully as she started to follow Lee. Wait. Naruto shouted looking confused. What's taijutsu? Tenten looked at Naruto in confusion before replying, hand-to-hand techniques. There was an awkward silence between after she said this where Naruto looked at her embarrassingly. Oh, you forgot your kunai. Naruto said changing the subject as he pointed to some 20 kunai left on the ground. You keep them. Tenten said friendlily as she broke into a smile. I already have more than I can use. Yarne. She said before running into the trees right after Lee. Wait up Lee. Neji. I can keep these Naruto said looking at the 20 kunai that glittered on the ground. That girl's really nice. Naruto thought smiling widely. Naruto was now hungry, pissed off, and exhausted. The sun was almost setting and Naruto was still outside training. He was doing exactly as Tenten said but he was still missing most of the time and because he didn't eat anything since yesterday he was starving. Starving. Even in dreams you have to work hard. Naruto muttered but as he threw the last kunai he fell forward, too exhausted to even move. Crap, am I going to S in this dream? Naruto thought mentally as well as physically fatigued. Naruto-kun. Naruto feebly tilted his head to see Hinata running towards him with concern written all over her face. Hinata, what are you doing here? Naruto asked weakly as he tried to push himself up. He fell back to the ground feebly as his arms failed him. Never mind that. Hinata said blushing slightly before she helped Naruto up. Why you shouldn't be training like this without someone to help you. It's okay. Naruto grunted as Hinata helped lift him up. I'm used being alone. Hinata looked at Naruto sadly as if she knew everything about it. Naruto was about to reply when his stomach rumbled hungrily. I didn't have anything to eat today. Naruto explained sheepishly. IIKK no TT this RRR restaurant, Hinata stuttered out before blushing 10 shades of red. I can't believe I just asked Naruto-kun out on a date. Huh, really? Naruto exclaimed hopefully before his eyes darkened, remembering the last time he tried to take a dango. But I don't have any money. Don't worry, Hinata said with such enthusiasm that it scared Naruto. Let's go. And without another word Naruto let himself be led by a very happy but shy girl. Here it is, Hinata said breathlessly as she led Naruto to a large formal-looking cafe. Naruto looked dumbly at the cafe with an air of forbidding. I don't think they'll let me in, he said weakly, slightly lowering his head. The restaurant was huge. Towering above them was a huge sign reading, private cafe, and besides it, reservation required. Naruto was sure it was a place for rich people and rich he was not. Nonsense. I go here with my family all the tea time. Hinata said, her cheeks flushed red with excitement. See, come on in, Hinata said shyly, motioning inside the restaurant. If you say so, Naruto said, took Hinata's hand in his. Hinata cringed a little but then relented as they walked in. Hinata blushed a deep scarlet as she thought about how they looked to others. As they entered the restaurant, a formal-looking waiter stopped them. His long nose rose disdainfully as he saw who it was. You need a reservation, sir, the man said, looking condescendingly at Naruto. It was only a while later did the man notice a girl standing next to the QB container. Oh, I'm so sorry, miss. I didn't see you. The man apologized hastily, seeing the girl's confused expression. Sweat started to bead the man's brows when he noticed the girl's pearly white eyes. Hyuga, here with the QB container. What do why you mean? Hinata asked. She never needed a reservation when she came with her father. They always led him to a private chamber somewhere up on the second floor. I'm sorry, miss, but he cannot come in here without a reservation. If you want, however, you can come and dine, the man said as sweetly as he could, though there was something mocking in his tone. His eyes glinted maliciously as he looked at Naruto, daring for him to object. Don't. It's okay, Hinata. I'm obviously not welcomed here, Naruto said emotionlessly as he walked out of the diner. Hinata thought she saw some tears in Naruto's eyes as he walked past her. I'm sorry, Naruto-kun, Hinata apologized, almost tearing when she approached Naruto. The blonde wasn't staring at her, nor did he say anything when Hinata stood next to him with her head down. Rather, he was staring into the sunset with a look of longing on his face. Hinata, did you know that no matter how much I was mistreated in school, I was never treated like I was now? Naruto shook his head before looking at Hinata with his eyes shining with tears. Why? Even here? Why? Naruto asked, not looking as if he expected an answer. I don't know Naruto, but I'll always be besides why you? Hinata managed to stutter out, her chest pounding after her confession. Naruto looked at Hinata surprised before breaking into a smile. So this is the way Kami-sama works, Naruto muttered softly to himself. Suddenly a slight gust of wind blew towards him as if it was some omen of goodwill. Naruto sniffed the air, looking alert and looking ready to pounce. Do I smell ramen? Naruto exclaimed before grabbing Hinata's hand and almost dragging her away. Naruto-kun. Hinata squeaked, burning red from embarrassment. Don't worry. I think I'm going to be lucky this time, Naruto said, following his nose wherever it might lead him. Kurenai walked towards the Hokage's mansion with her head lowered in thought. She was confused to say the least. Why was Naruto on her team of all the choices? She shook her head slightly. I need to see Hokage-sama. He must have a reason for all of this. The two Chunins guarding the Hokage's door nodded to Kurenai as she entered. Hokage-sama, I have some. Kurenai paused, looking bemused at the man standing before her. The man had a mask and his forehead covered one eye. At the moment, one of the man's eyes were crinkled up in a smile. Kakashi, what is he doing here? Kurenai, the Hokage said from his chair behind the desk. The Hokage's straw hat covered most of his face, but there was a smile hidden under the shadows. I'm guessing that this is about your Genin team too. At Kurenai's surprised expression, the Hokage sighed. I thought so. It was a last-minute decision based on recent events, the third explained as he took out two scrolls from his desk and handed one to Kakashi. Open it. Kakashi complied and opened the scroll. Slowly a frown formed under Kakashi's mask. Kakashi asked me about his genin team too. The third said, handing the second scroll to Kurenai. Do you see now why I switched them? The third asked, seeing the looks on Kakashi and Kurenai's faces. Hokage-sama, I still don't understand. Kurenai said, looking genuinely confused as she looked back at the Hokage. I see now, Kakashi murmured softly before handing back the scroll to the Hokage. I will go now and set up the exam. Kakashi said before smiling wanly at Kurenai. Don't think too hard about it, he whispered before disappearing in a cloud of smoke. Kurenai smiled slightly, knowing fully well what Kakashi was probably going to do before the moment he was out of sight. Apparently the third knew too from the indiscernible frown on his face. Hokage-sama, I'm sorry but I don't see how this explains your actions, Kurenai said as she reread the scroll. On the scroll both Kiba and Naruto's skills were compared. They were almost identical in taijutsu and ninjutsu, though Kiba's genjutsu was stronger. It didn't make any sense. My area depends on a competent genjutsu user. All this chart tells me is that Naruto's genjutsu rivals that of Lee's ninjutsu. Really, even though Naruto is, lacking in the general jutsu apartment, he is a competent user in taijutsu and ninjutsu. Even more so than Kiba. The Hokage opened the scroll that Kakashi returned to him and pointed out something on the scroll. Here it says Naruto can preformed Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. Kurenai gasped, finally understanding why Naruto was on her team. His ability to search with Kage Bunshins makes up for the lack of skills in Genjutsu. She said, looking slightly awed that a 12-year-old boy could do a forbidden Junin level skill. He could scout on a massive scale that rivals that of an Anbu team with this ninjutsu. Yes, but he also has increased perceptions. Demonstrated in the Hokage's paused, face wrinkled in disgust. Mizuki incident. Only someone with amazing tracking skills could have followed Mizuki after Iruka was cornered. The Hokage had another reason for placing Naruto onto Kurenai's team, but it wasn't time to tell her yet. When the time is right, the third thought, staring seriously at Kurenai. I see why Naruto was placed in my team then, Kurenai said slowly before handing back the scroll to the Hokage. But Naruto is loud and obnoxious. I'm afraid he might give away our position. The Hokage frowned, thinking this over. Kiba is no different from Naruto in terms of what they're like outside. Though Naruto may act like an idiot, but he hides something else deep inside. He was deprived love as a child and not a lot of people understood this. Oh. I didn't know, Kurenai said, looking guiltily at the Hokage. If I knew. I do not suggest you go easy on them though. You test will put their scouting skills to the limit and I will expect no less. The Hokage said, smiling faintly. Kurenai smiled. The third always had a way with his subjects no matter what the subject. Yes, Hokage-sama, Kurenai said curtly as she disappeared exactly as Kakashi did. The Hokage sighed as the smoke cleared out of his room before he tucked the scrolls back into the drawer. When he pulled his hand out of the drawer, a small orange book was in his hands and a small blush in his face. Wait, I know I have it somewhere, Naruto said, rummaging through his pockets. His nose had found what he was looking for, all right, the greatest ramen store in the world, Ichiraku. Piles upon piles of ramen were just waiting him to devour. Unfortunately, he couldn't find any money within his pockets. Naruto, don't worry, I said. No, I have to have some money, Naruto said, cutting off the owner of the store. The old man looked miffed for a second before shaking his head slightly in amusement. He has his girlfriend over at my store and he spends half his time searching for money when I would gladly give him and his friend a free meal. Crap. I know I have to have something, Naruto said in agitation as he sped off the top half of his jumpsuit and started shaking it violently. Naruto-kun. I'll gladly pay for it, Hinata said with a small blush on her face quickly, but Naruto just shook his head. This isn't a matter of pride anymore. It's about chivalry. I'll show you that chivalry isn't yet, Naruto muttered more to himself than Hinata. 2 pieces of paper fell out of the jacket, but Naruto paid no attention to it. Hinata frowned as she plucked the papers out of the air before they could fall onto the ground. Maybe in my pants, Naruto muttered as he stuck his hands into his pants looking for money. Naruto, Hinata said, looking amazed at the piece of paper in her hand. Yes, Naruto said, looking slightly desperate as he turned towards Hinata. I think we each have our answer, Hinata said as she held up 2 coupons for free ramen at Ichiraku. Where did you get that? Naruto asked wide-eyed, looking as if his guardian angel had come to save him. Behind the counter the old man chuckled. Don't you remember, Naruto? I gave you more than enough coupons to keep you happy. The old man said to the bewildered boy. You probably keep me in business alone with the amount of ramen you're eating at my place. It's the least I can do. The old man smiled as he lifted some ramen into a bowl. Ayami, here you go, he said as he handed 2 steaming bowls of ramen to his daughter. It all works out in the end. Naruto said gratefully, his mouth watering as the owner's daughter set down large bowl of ramen in front of him. In Japan they usually say something before they eat. What was it? Itadakimasu, said someone besides Naruto. Ah, so that's it, Naruto thought, smiling slightly. Itadakimasu. Naruto shouted happily as he split his chopsticks. Within seconds Naruto was devouring the ramen like there was no tomorrow. I hope you're enjoying your ramen, Ayami said cheerfully before she got another bowl and set it down in front of Hinata. And here's another one for your girlfriend. Naruto suddenly started coughing and Hinata's face grew a deep crimson with embarrassment. It's not like that, Naruto managed after coughing a few times. I'm no pedo. Naruto thought, one of his eyes twitching. She's a friend and I invited her to come. Oh, so she's just a friend? Ayami asked, smiling slightly. Naruto-kun's tea telling the tea truth, Hinata said softly before splitting her own chopsticks into 2. Itadakimasu, she said as she started on her own ramen, trying to avoid looking at anyone else. See, Naruto said satisfied before digging into his ramen again. It was scary how fast a large bowl of ramen could disappear when Naruto was at it. The owner of Ichiraku shook his head slightly. The girl's so obviously in love with him, Naruto Yubaka, when will you see the treasure you have right in front of your eyes? Ah, that was good, Naruto said contently, rubbing his stomach as he walked around a large lake with Hinata by his side. Nothing like a walk right after a good meal. Hinata smiled shyly, looking up at Naruto. Oh, how she wanted him to take her hand. Like lovers taking a stroll around the lake. You know, this place reminds me of home, Naruto said, grinning as a girl with long black hair approached him idly. She looked familiar, but Naruto couldn't name the girl. As she passed, she looked at him in confusion as if she recognized him. A moment later the confusion turned into a smirk and she walked past him. So that's the way you want to play it, Naruto thought as a cunning idea came into his head. Pretending to yawn, Naruto slowly inched his hand near Hinata's hand. Hinata turned a deep shade of scarlet, noticing Naruto's plan, but kept herself under control. I can't believe this is happening, Hinata thought, her heart beating rapidly as Naruto's hand brushed hers. But just as suddenly as the touch came, it was gone and Naruto was yawning again. I thought he was going to. Hinata felt her heart sink and looked down at the ground, determined to not show Naruto the tears in her eyes. Hey Hinata, how about we have a seat? Naruto said as he put an arm around Hinata and led her to a bench that sat right across from the lake. Hinata squeaked in surprise as she plopped down onto the beach. A moment later Naruto was sitting next to her with a smile on his face. Naruto-kun? Hinata asked uncertainly. She was more nervous than she ever was in her entire life. Hinata, Naruto said suddenly, still staring at the lake with the same mysterious smile on his face. Hinata wasn't sure what to make of Naruto at the moment. Usually he wore his heart on his sleeves, but now, he was so mysterious, and what frightened her was that she was attracted to this side of Naruto too. Why yes, why do you call me Naruto-kun? At Hinata's surprised expression, Naruto decided to rephrase his question. I mean, why are you so nice to me? What have I done to deserve your kindness? Naruto sighed as he looked up into the sky. He had troubled expression on his face and something inside him was burning for an answer. Naruto-kun, you'll always be Naruto-kun to me, Hinata whispered softly before speaking up when Naruto looked at her in confusion. I'll always feel this way about you, you don't have to do anything, Hinata thought as she put her hand up to her heart. Fortunately, or unfortunately, this motion was lost to Naruto. Naruto sighed, smiling slightly. He didn't expect to get a straight answer from the girl, and for some reason he was content. Hey Hinata, Naruto exclaimed suddenly as he pointed into the horizon. Hinata shook herself out of her thoughts and looked up. The sunset's beautiful here, Naruto muttered. Red hues mixed with orange creating the comforting image before them. Slowly Hinata relaxed and without thinking, leaning her shoulder onto Naruto's side. Naruto looked at Hinata in confusion before grinning slightly. In a moment Hinata was fast asleep with her head resting on Naruto's shoulder. Tenten was bored. Not the regular bored, mind you. The bored out of her mind bored. Lee was out training with Guy Sensei, no doubt on one of their impossible tasks. Neji was giving her the cold shoulder, and most importantly, Naruto was nowhere to be found. Tenten let her hair down in an attempt to feel the wind against her hair. It didn't help much and Tenten was still bored to death. This is so boring. Tenten med as she walked aimlessly around the lake. It was a beautiful day but there was just nothing to do. If I could only find Naruto. Tenten thought walking towards two couples. She smiled noticing how cute the two looked as she passed them. Tenten's eyes narrowed as she whipped her head about. The two people that passed her looked eerily familiar but she couldn't place her finger on it. She shrugged before walking another lap around the lake. Sasuke was annoyed. It wasn't often that he got annoyed with something as trivial as teams but he was annoyed. I don't know how I got with you two. Complained Kiba following Sasuke and Sakura around. Of course he could have went home but Kakashi told them to get acquainted with each other. Why can't he shut up? Sasuke wondered as he tried not to take out his anger on the dog boy. If you got a problem take it to the judge. Sakura growled as she walked up to Sasuke. Right, Sasuke-kun. She asked stressing out Sasuke's name. Why did this happen? Sasuke grunted as he turned his thoughts to the blonde boy. Naruto, how I envy you. Sasuke thought enviously. You have the most silent boy in school on your team and you don't have to deal with fangirls, and Hinata's about the only girl that I can approach without worrying about getting mobbed. Lucky bastard. Sasuke spat out spitefully. Hey, I'm anything but lucky. Kiba shouted right next to Sasuke's ears. At this point Sasuke snapped. Oh my god, you are so annoying. You're possible more irritating than 50 Narutos combined. Just leave me alone. Sasuke shouted into Kiba's face, his eyes glowing red from anger before he stomped away. Kiba's mouth opened imperceptibly in shock. Sakura smirked at Kiba and stuck her tongue out at him. Regaining his composure Kiba said to Sakura, you do know he said leave him alone. Not you and him alone. The sun had almost set and Tenten was still walking around the lake. Mom's probably worried sick. She sighed. I guess I better go home. Tenten thought as she neared a bench. She suddenly froze in place as she spotted the two couples she saw before sitting on a chair together. Actually they were more like cuddling together than sitting together. Why in the world are they doing this in public? She muttered as she slowly approached the two. Her mouth opened in surprise and shock as she realized who was sitting on the bench. Naruto-kun. Tenten scolded, giving Naruto a rude awakening. What? Naruto snorted as he jerked his head up. Wow, I never felt so comfortable since I was 6 years old with my mother. Naruto hugged soft pillow in his arms, not questioning why his pillow had a circular protrusion, and yawned slightly. It was in mid-yawn when he noticed the girl with long black hair staring at him with a strange expression in her eyes. Who the hell are you? Naruto said stupidly. And what are you doing in my room? Naruto suddenly paused looking past the girl. A pristine lake was the first thing he saw but he wasn't in any mood to appreciate nature's beauty. What the heck? What happened to my room? Naruto cried in panic. My name's Tenten. She said indignantly deciding to ignore the last two questions. Can't you recognize me? After a moment of silence she started to mutter irritably under her breath. This is what I get after agreeing to train him, she growled as she took two ribbons out of her pocket and proceeded to wrap her hair into two buns. What about now? She said with her hands out in exasperation. Naruto slowly shook his head. He was confused more than ever now. This girl that only remembered faintly in his dreams was insisting that he knew her. Adding to this was the fact that the soft pillow in his right arm started to gain little hard spot the middle and for some reason the pillow started to push against him. Naruto-kun. Will you stop molesting that poor girl for a second and talk to me? Tenten cried a little exasperated as well as jealous. A girl younger than me already has a guy. I didn't even get a kiss yet, she thought enviously. Molest moi? Naruto said confused as he looked down at his pillow. In less than a second Naruto grew pale and he almost blacked out. W what? H Hinata. T Tenten. Naruto exclaimed, looking from the sleeping girl that was pressed against him to the other girl that was looking at Naruto disapprovingly. It was his third glance around when he noticed something else. Oh crap. Naruto's eyes widened even further as he realized where his right hand was. His hand was somewhere he always wished it was, just not in this situation. Naruto tore his hand away from Hinata's chest area, panting heavily with a large blush on his face. Hinata fell sideways without Naruto to hold her up, but luckily Tenten was fast enough to catch Hinata before she fell onto the bench. Ah, I guess he didn't know. I shouldn't tell Neji then, Tenten thought, shuddering as she imagined what Neji would do with this information. Naruto looked at the two girls in surprise. I slept in a dream. What the heck? Naruto slowly backed away when Tenten turned her eyes on him. What was that for? You could have hurt Hinata. Tenten reprimanded like she was Naruto's older sister. In a way she was in this world, but Naruto wasn't thinking about that. He was thinking about how the hell he ended up back in the dream. Naruto said dumbly. Okay Naruto, let's make a deal. Tenten said, thinking fast. I won't tell anyone about what happened here, and you promise to keep me company when I'm bored. Ha! Naruto's mind, thought it was sluggish at the moment, just kicked into overdrive. Is she hitting on me? Not wait. This is blackmail. What? Naruto quickly dropped down a few octaves when Hinata turned around in her sleep. What? Why are you doing this? Naruto hissed so he wouldn't wake Hinata. Tenten paused, wondering about this question herself. Why was she doing this? Well, I guess I was bored, and she looked at Naruto closely. And there's just something about you that I just can't place my finger on, she said softly, more to herself than anything. There's defiantly a weird feeling about him. So what are you trying to say? Naruto asked, getting more confused by the moment. Just train with me when I'm bored. Tenten said as she slung Hinata over on her back. Naruto winced but didn't say anything. Amazingly, Hinata stayed asleep during all of this. I'll take her home so it won't look weird. Tenten said, walking easily. Take it easy, alright. And a second later she was gone. Why yeah, sure. Naruto said shakily, a little unnerved seeing a 15-year-old girl carry Hinata so easily. Well, since I'm still here. Naruto frowned, looking up into the sky. The sun was barely showing over the horizon and it was getting dark. He was just about to start walking home when he realized something. Where the hell do I live? Right after Naruto shouted this, a man dropped out of the trees, causing Naruto into jumping up a few feet in fright. The man raised his face and Naruto was surprised to see a dog mask covering his face. Is it Halloween already? Naruto asked in confusion. The man stood slowly up, looking forbiddingly at Naruto. The blonde couldn't tell the man's emotion, but he was sure that the guy wasn't thrilled with his sense of humor. What is this Halloween? The man asked, causing Naruto to drop down into the bench in disbelief. Never mind. The man said stolidly, walking over and forcing Naruto onto his feet. I will escort you back to your house. Ha, I was just kidding. Naruto said quickly, not trusting anyone who wore a mask when it wasn't Halloween. Really? Then I'm taking that your previous request was invalid? The man asked. Now there was no doubting the faint irritation in his voice. Previous request. Inval far. Naruto said, completely lost. Let me reiterate. The man said slowly, as if talking to an academy student. I am an Anbu. I was stationed. The Anbu stopped as if catching himself before continuing. I will escort you back home. The Anbu said shortly as he walked towards some houses. Wait up. Naruto cried as he ran after the Anbu. It was hard falling asleep for Naruto. Mostly because he still thought this were a dream, but eventually was overcome by exhaustion. But as he slipped into the world of dreams, another pair of eyes was watching him. Do you really believe this is a dream? Came a persistent rumble inside Naruto's head. Shut up. I'm trying to get some sleep. Naruto mumbled as he turned around in his bed. Fool. Do you really still think this is a dream? If you do, then you're more of a barker than I thought. Naruto covered his head with the pillow and mumbled something unintelligible along the lines of, bastard, leave me alone. Somehow Naruto felt a large imaginary eyebrow twitch in annoyance. Arrogant fool, ungrateful brat. Slowly the blonde peeked out from under the pillow to find the owner of the voice. Darkness. That was all Naruto saw, until. Barker. boomed the voice. Light suddenly flooded the room, blinding Naruto for a moment. Naruto blinked blearily at the change, but slowly Naruto's eyes adjusted to the light. It was then that Naruto learned that he wasn't in his house anymore. What the crap? Naruto exclaimed as he jumped off of the cold and slightly slimy floor in disgust. The pillow he put his head under, Naruto discovered, wasn't a pillow at all. It was a large bushy orange thing, and at the moment it was growling. Okay, this is getting weird. Since when did pillows growl? Naruto declared, not expecting someone to answer. It was because of this that when the voice whispered something right next to Naruto that he jumped about 10 feet in the air in shock. It's not a pillow, Kit. It's my tail, snarled a voice. Naruto whirled around, fully prepared to confront another man. It was only when he noticed the gigantic figure towering over him in a cage did he whimper in fear. Oh crap, Naruto whispered, stumbling backwards from the cage. The giant red fox stood proudly with its 9 tails thrashing about. Slowly a sinister smile formed on its gigantic lips, revealing 2 razor-sharp canines. Surprised. I know everything that happened to you, Uzumaki Naruto. Sneered the kitsune. Naruto swore and looked backwards for an escape. It wasn't surprising when Naruto found himself facing a blank concrete wall. Naruto swore again before facing the large fox, his jaw stuck out defiantly. Do your worst, bastard. I don't care if you know my name or not. You're still just a bad nightmare. Naruto cried, more out of stupidity than confidence. That's nice, Kit, but don't you want to know what I want first? The kitsune rumbled. Naruto looked at the fox in confusion before screwing his face up in thought. All right then. What do you want, stupid demon fox? Naruto muttered, looking at the fox through the corner of his eyes. Thankfully the fox didn't look like it heard the last part. Dumb Kit, muttered the fox demon before carrying on. My name is Kyubi and I am a demon. I also know who you are. Great. You know my name. Get on with it, Naruto said scathingly, now not even bothering to act like a 12-year-old anymore. Humph. The Kyubi snorted, not at all pleased with Naruto's attitude. That's not what I meant. I know you're not really the Uzumaki Naruto. You're a fake, a cheat, a charlatan. A what? Naruto asked, searching through his 16-year-old vocabulary. Unfortunately, he never really did pay attention to English class. A bunch of nerds only paid any attention there. Of course, he was probably considered lower than a nerd in some ways. The Kyubi ignored the question, lowering its face until it was facing Naruto. I saw something that I didn't think possible happen right before my eyes. You are my key out of this dump. What are you talking about? Naruto shouted, aggravated with the demon's indecipherable intentions. You don't know anything about the way of the shinobi, do you? The Kyubi asked, not bothering to explain itself. Naruto looked at the demon, surprised at the sudden change of topic, before replying, so what if I don't? Let me teach you my way of the shinobi. The Kyubi said, grinning sinisterly. The Kyubi actually had something else planned, but it wasn't going to put it into action just yet. Ha! What good will that do in real life? I want to wake up already, this is getting way too weird. You just don't understand, do you? The Kyubi questioned patiently, though the Kyubi was slowly losing his patience with the stubborn blonde. This is the real world now. Everything you do or say here will forever be imprinted in this dimension. Naruto looked at the Kyubi, his eyes wide with shock at this new revelation. A second later, Naruto burst out laughing. Gee great, just gee great, Naruto gasped, my dreams trying to convince me that this is real life. Naruto shook his head in amusement. Barker, roared the Kyubi in irritation. Suddenly red chakra flowed from all parts of the cage, forming a large claw that started to close on Naruto. The blonde still had the same amused smile on his face before the claw grabbed him, merging into his coat and searing into his F. Slowly the smile slid from his face and an expression of disbelief and pain replaced it. Does this feel real to you? Jeered the Kyubi as steam started to hiss from Naruto's jacket. Do you feel my chakra burning your human soul? Do you feel it getting tainted by the soul of a demon? Make it stop. Naruto gasped as he collapsed onto his knees, writhing about, trying to throw off the burning claw of chakra. The Kyubi smirked triumphantly, and as suddenly as the chakra claw came, it was gone, leaving the blonde panting on the ground. I would have kept it longer, but I didn't want our souls to merge. The Kyubi said, explaining why it didn't prolong Naruto's suffering. Naruto lied on the ground, too shocked to move. Pain was racking though his body, but he was too numb to care. This is real. It can't be real, but what just happened right now, I can't just dismiss that as a dream. And no. Naruto cried, trying to block the thoughts from his head. It can't be real. Mom. No. This is all just a dream. I'm going to wake up in my bed any time now. Naruto thought, shaking slightly. It's no use. You're not going back to wherever you came from. You might as well just accept it as fact. You're stuck here and you're going to be in a lot more trouble if people here realize you aren't really Naruto. The Kyuubi said stolidly, not at all moved by Naruto's outward display of emotion. Mom? Naruto drew in a shuddering breath before standing up. Why? Why did this happen to me? The Kyuubi looked like it was struggling for an answer before finally saying, I do not know, but I have my suspicions. And I also have an idea how to get you back. The Kyuubi drifted off in thought, leaving his sentence hanging. What is it? Naruto demanded, looking at the demon, his eyes wild with desperation. Slowly the Kyuubi's frown turned into a smirk. You must become a shinobi. There is probably a jutsu out there you can learn that will take you back to where you came. But you can only learn it if you're a shinobi. Then teach me. Naruto said, suddenly remembering the Kyuubi's suggestion. Teach me your way of the shinobi. Gladly, but from now on you will refer to me as Kyuubi-sensei. The demon fox grinned at the look of disgust on Naruto's face. Fine, Kyuubi-sensei, Naruto forced out before whispering under his breath, blasted fox. Stupid kit, muttered the Kyuubi as it sat on its great haunches and faced Naruto. Okay then. We will first start on the concept of chakra. Thought it's fairly simple, there is a matter of control. We'll start with a few simple exercises. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.